How one company destroyed an entire country. The table of how one agency destroyed an entire country is a long and complex one. However, it could be summarized into some key points. The agency, Royal Dutch Shell, is a multinational oil and gasoline employer that has been operating in Nigeria since the early 1900s. Shell has a protracted history of environmental and human rights abuses in Nigeria, which includes oil spills, pollution, and the displacement of communities. These abuses have had a devastating impact on Nigerians, leading to tremendous poverty, sickness, and environmental degradation. Shell has denied responsibility for a lot of those abuses and has lobbied the Nigerian authorities to suppress dissent. The story of Shell in Nigeria is a cautionary tale about the electricity of groups and the importance of holding them accountable for their actions. It is also a reminder of the human value of environmental destruction. The environmental impact of Shell's operations in Nigeria. Shell's operations in Nigeria have had a devastating impact on the surrounding area. The employer has been liable for several oil spills that have polluted rivers, lakes, and farmland. These spills have caused large environmental damage and led to the displacement of thousands of people. In addition to grease spills, Shell's operations have also contributed to air and water pollutants. The enterprises, refineries, and gas plants emit dangerous pollutants into the air that have triggered respiratory troubles and other health problems in nearby groups. Shell's operations have additionally infected the water, making it unsafe to drink or use for irrigation. The human impact of Shell's operations in Nigeria. The environmental impact of Shell's operations in Nigeria has had a massive human price. Pollutants and displacement as a result of oil spills have caused widespread poverty, sickness, and malnutrition. In addition, Shell's operations have contributed to the struggle in the Niger Delta, as nearby groups have protested the corporation's environmental and human rights abuses. In 1995, Shell was accused of taking a position in the execution of 9 Ogoni activists who were protesting against the business's enterprises, environmental and human rights abuses. The activists were arrested with the aid of the Nigerian government and charged with treason. They had been determined guilty and performed regardless of international protests. The suppression of dissent. Shell has a long history of suppressing dissent in Nigeria. The corporation has been accused of using its economic and political power to intimidate and silence critics. In 2009, Shell was fined $1.5 billion by the Nigerian authorities for bribing police officers. The company has also been accused of using its security forces to assault and intimidate nearby communities that have protested its operations. The future of Shell in Nigeria. The destiny of Shell in Nigeria is uncertain. The organization has faced growing pressure from environmental corporations and human rights companies to clean up its act. In recent years, Shell has made a few developments in addressing its environmental and human rights abuses. However, the organization nevertheless has a long way to go before it can be taken into consideration and as an accountable company citizen. The tale of Shell in Nigeria is a reminder of the power of businesses and the significance of holding them accountable for their actions. It is also a reminder of the human cost of environmental destruction. We have to continue to pressure Shell and different groups to ease up their act and respect the rights of nearby groups. In 2019, Shell was ordered by a Dutch court to repay 4 Nigerian farmers who had been suffering from an oil spill. This became a landmark ruling because it was the first time that a Dutch court had held Shell accountable for environmental damage caused in Nigeria. In 2020, Shell introduced a brand new plan to reduce its carbon emissions by 50% by 2030. This is a high-quality step. However, it isn't always sufficient. Shell ought to also take steps to cope with its environmental and human rights abuses in Nigeria. Nigerian human beings have a right to clean surroundings and a safe livelihood. Shell should be held responsible for its movements, and it should atone for the harm that it has induced. The importance of holding corporations accountable. The tale of Shell in Nigeria is a reminder of the significance of holding corporations accountable for their actions. Corporations have a responsibility to function in a way that is sustainable and that respects the rights of neighborhood communities. When companies ruin regulations or violate human rights, they should be held responsible. We ought to maintain pressure on Shell and other corporations to smooth out their act and recognize the rights of nearby groups. We should also call for governments to take action to hold companies liable for their actions. The future of the planet depends on it. The fight continues. The battle to keep Shell liable for its movements in Nigeria isn't always over. In 2022, a Dutch courtroom ruled that Shell should pay repayment in $15,000. That Shell should pay repayment to 15,000 Nigerian farmers who were tormented by an oil spill. This was a sizable victory for the Nigerian humans. However, it's by far the best step in an extended adventure. Shell has preserved in disclaiming the responsibility for the various cases of abuse that have taken place in Nigeria. The organization has additionally lobbied the Nigerian government to suppress dissent. However, the Nigerian people aren't giving up. They are continuing to fight for their rights, and they may be stressing that Shell be held accountable for its movements. The story of Shell in Nigeria is a reminder that agencies will have a devastating impact on people and their surroundings. It is likewise a reminder that we should in no way surrender to preventing justice. We should hold agencies accountable for their moves, and we should call for those governments to take action to protect the rights of local communities. What you can do. There are many things that you could do to help hold Shell liable for its movements in Nigeria. Here are some thoughts. Learn about the difficulty. There are many resources to be had online and in libraries that let you do research, that let you do extra research about Shell's sports in Nigeria. Contact Shell. You can write to Shell or touch the organization through social media to express your concerns about its operations in Nigeria. Support companies. There are many corporations that are operating to preserve Shell's responsibility for its moves in Nigeria. You can help these corporations by donating cash or volunteering slowly. Get concerned in a political manner. You can contact your elected officials and demand that they take action to keep Shell accountable for its actions in Nigeria. By taking those steps, you can help to ensure that Shell is held responsible for its actions and that the Nigerian people are able to get the justice they deserve. We appreciate you watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it and learned something. Consider giving a thumbs up and join our channel to see more videos like this one if you like it. Remember to hit the notification bell to ensure you get all the uploads. Please feel free to leave a comment below with any further comments, criticism, or suggestions for videos. And as always, all the links will be in the description below if you want to keep up with our most recent material and connect with us on social media. Once again, thanks for viewing. We'll see you in the next video.